Hey BookTube, this is Friday Reads. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks and 7 books to tell you about this week. I kind of made up for lost time, but they're all romance. I'll tell you that right now, so if you are not interested in romance, then you may want to skip this one. If you are into romance, then you're gonna love this one. So let me just get into the books. The first one was Good Luck With That by Kristin Higgins. This is narrated from 3 points of view by Exie Sands, Lori Gardner, and Suzy Jackson. I was really moved by what I read. So I'll talk more about this during the live show for the Happily Ever Afters. And that will be a week from Sunday at 7 on my YouTube channel right here. Lisa from Books and Smiles and Ashley from Ash Heart Books are both going to be there. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. It's going to be a great discussion. So I hope that you'll be there for that. I'll try and put out another kind of reminder video just to let you know. So I gave that one 5 stars. I think any book that I get to the end of that has moved me in such a way that this did is worthy of 5 stars from me. So yeah. Then I moved on to Wreckage. This is by Emily Bleeker, and it is told from 2 points of view by Kristin Watson Heintz and Luke Daniels. I liked the narration okay. I didn't love it, but I do think it was above average. Luke Daniels is very seasoned as a narrator. He's very experienced. I think that he did a great job, but some of my hesitation about raving about him is just that the tone of his voice and the way that he phrases things is not always the way that I think that would have been said. So, you know, anytime I get pulled out of a story like that, I kind of go, well, that was not good in terms of the narration. Kristin Watson Heintz was great. And so, you know, overall, like I say, the narration was above average. The book is not what I expected. I didn't realize this is a book about 2 people on a desert island. And so I've read other books like this. On the Island is one, and that is one of my favorite books of all time. This was not that good, and for various reasons. It's a completely different plot line other than the fact that they're on a desert island. There's a woman who is on vacation with her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law has won a trip in Fiji. So they are traveling from the Polynesian islands, like a main place where the big planes fly into, to Fiji on a smaller plane that's been chartered by the company that sponsored the contest. So there are only 5 people on the plane, and they run into some weather and they crash. And so 4 of them wash up on shore in a raft. And so it's basically the story of what happens. There is a romance that develops because they're on this island for a couple of years. There's a lot that happens on the island, but they do get rescued. I don't think that's really a spoiler because the bulk of the plot has to do with this woman who is, like I say, she was with her mother-in-law, and how she's dealing with the repercussions of having been on the island. And it's kind of told in a present day flashback kind of way. It's an okay story. It has a little bit of a plot twist at the end that I didn't see coming. But that really didn't raise it to, oh my gosh, I'm so bowled over level for me. So yeah, I ended up giving it 3 stars. And I think it's a good read. I don't know if I want to read anything else by Emily Bleeker or not. I think this kind of is in the realm of women's fiction where you don't have the guaranteed happily ever afters that you have in a lot of just standard romance. So I don't know. I don't know if I like that kind of women's fiction, but you know, what can you say? You know, a lot of it is very good. So there's a reason people like it. I followed that up with Someday by David Levithan. This is book 3 in his Everyday series, and it is narrated by a full cast who include Alex McKenna, Mark Bramhall, Tara Sands, Will Ropp, Robbie Daymond, Kathleen McKierney, Fred Sanders, Lorna Raver, Colleen Marlowe, Vikas Adam, and Tim Heller. That's a lot of people, and a lot of those people just have one character that they voice, and it's just kind of a very short little section in the story. Alex McKenna was the main voice of the main character, who is A. And A is a being who wakes up in the body of a different person every day. So she has a very raspy voice. And so while that was good for the voice of A, because it's not gender specific, A has not identified with a specific gender. And so her voice works for that. But whenever she did other voices and had to drop her range, I just don't like that. I don't think she's great at that. So, you know, it's that raspiness. It just tends to sound too gravelly for me. But she was great as the voice of A. The other narrators were really good. Tara Sands is always good. She was the voice of Rhiannon. And then Mark Bramhall was the voice of X. And so those three characters were the main characters about which everything else revolved. Every Day is one of my favorite books of all time. It really, truly is probably in my top 10. And I love it because it explores acceptance and societal norms and views of people in general. And because A is not a human, he is just a being that wakes up in the body of a different person every day. If he goes to cultivate a relationship, a romantic or even a friendship relationship, then because he's different every day, those initial impressions have to be overcome. And so that's what makes this book so fascinating. This one it picks up where the end of Every Day left off. And so romantically speaking, A is separated from the girl that he feels so strongly about and essentially loves. And he has found another being like himself. And these other narrators voice other characters who are other beings. And A is just thrilled to find out that he's not the only one. And X is kind of a bad person. So it's all the story of A's relationship with Rhiannon, who is a girl that he met in Every Day. And they are struggling to define their relationship. And the way that they speak to each other, well, these are high school kids, it was awfully philosophical and deep for two people of that age to be discussing. There's, I don't know that it's a plot twist, but there is a climax that happens that is really interesting. And there's, at the end, it doesn't really resolve in a way that you go, yes. You just kind of go, okay. Well, it couldn't really end any other way. And it ended on a very good note. And it was satisfying, but not in a, oh, my heart kind of a way, where Every Day ended on that kind of a note. So, all things considered, I love this series. I really do. I think David Levithan has just really examined these issues in such a fascinating way, and it's so well done, and I'm sure I will find lots of quotes from it when I get the book in print, because obviously I listened to it. I ended up giving it 4 stars for all the reasons that I just told you. Then I picked up Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. This is by Christina Lauren, which is 2 authors, actually, who are good friends, and it's narrated by Jayme Mattler and Todd Haberkorn. The narration was really good. I liked it a lot. I think Jayme Mattler was perfect for the voice of Hazel, and Todd Haberkorn really did capture Josh really well. The book is the story of Hazel and Josh and how they become friends and then how their romantic relationship evolves. And it is a delightful book. It is just delightful because Hazel is a completely free spirit. She just does not adhere to the confines of societal expectations, and she just defies convention. And she's so much fun. She's a third grade teacher, and she meets Josh when they are in college. And he's a little bit older, and so he is actually Korean American. He's from a Korean family. And so he is very interested and invested in his culture and all of the views that are held by the Korean culture with regard to, just convention, the way things ought to be done and how parents are treated and just in general. So he is a physical therapist, has his own practice, and he is very straight-laced, and of course Hazel is very much of a free spirit. So it is how their friendship evolves. It's just a delightful story. It is full of all kinds of wonderful moments. There are a couple laugh out loud moments, and yeah, so I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Hot Asset is 21 Wall Street, Book 1 by Layne, narrated by Samantha Cook and Zachary Weber. Of course, the narration I loved because I love Zachary Weber, and he's always good. The way that he can capture a character and the way that he phrases things, that's where he's so good. Because he'll read dialogue in a way that you hear a person speaking. It's like the person is speaking. And I think that's because he's an actor. All the best voice actors are actors, although the caveat to that is that all actors are not good voice actors. So anyway, Samantha Cook was also very good. She captured the voice of the female lead character very, very well. She is an investigator for the SEC, and he is a guy on Wall Street. And he has come up from nothing and become something, and she wants to get into the FBI. So it is kind of a hate to love with a little bit of suspense and at the end. I wouldn't call it mystery, but just suspense. And so it was great. I really liked it. I loved the way that the relationship evolved. I thought it was really spot on. I love it when they don't, the author doesn't drag out the, oh, should I, shouldn't I, am I gonna go with these feelings? The whole working through the feelings thing and then going, well, I don't know. I hate that. So I love it when in a respectable amount of time, although the character maybe initially does that, they come to a point where they're going, I'm not gonna fool myself anymore. I feel this and I'm gonna admit it. So I always like that. And this book did that really well. So 4 stars. Then I moved on to Only You, which is the Bachelor Brotherhood. Say that 10 times real fast. Book 1 by Denise Swank and narrated by Loretta Rollins. I liked this one in terms of the narration a lot. I liked Loretta Rollins. I think that there were a few times when I got pulled out of the story because, again, I thought that's not the way that character would have said that. But in this case, I think it was just a style thing where Loretta Rollins chose to read it one way and I would have chosen another way. So, that aside, I think her narration was great. This is the story of 3 guys who agreed that they are going to be the Bachelor Brotherhood, and right off the bat, one of them gets interested in a girl. And they're next door neighbors. He buys a broken down house that he has to renovate, and she is a wedding planner. And turns out that her boss is his mom. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on, which I won't go into now. It's really not a hate to love. It's more like a cautious, let's get together. It happens really fast. It has a very cute ending, but it's very abrupt. Not that it happens, well, it does happen abruptly, but not that it plays out abruptly. It's just, you kind of go, what? So, I don't know. This was, I don't know. I didn't love it. It's just average. If you like romance, it's very sweet, it's very romantic, and so yeah, you might like it if you like that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with this series or not. I might not. I might just move on to another one. This was at the top of my iPod, so I thought, okay, I don't know what to read next, so I'm just going to work down the list. So that was next on the list. Something else I want to mention, a lot of these romance books have pretty steamy scenes in them, and I just don't need all that. So I tend to fast forward. I've read that stuff before and I just don't need to read it anymore. So I say that because I want you to know that if that doesn't interest you at all, then, but you do want the romance and the lead up to all that, yeah, you can just skip it. Even if you're reading the book in print, you can skip it. So it's nice to be able to do that. So anyway, as always, if you've read any of these books, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it for now for me. So have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.